thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Last time you remember, Bullwinkle was guarding the suitcase full of stolen bank money when suddenly the bottom dropped out of the plot.
Oop! Termites!
But no, frantically tugging on the suitcase was our old nemesis, Boris Vedanoff.
Let go, you stupid moose.
I'm not giving up to no talking termites!
Fortunately, the sheriff was outside Bullwinkle's cell and heard the commotion. He immediately went to the moose's aid. But unfortunately, Boris's gang also arrived on the scene. Fortunately, Rocky zoomed in looking for the sheriff, but unfortunately...
Make up your mind, will you?
Get him in there! Oh, Alice, Minnesota! Hey, Babyface, I got it! I got the suitcase!
Then let's get out of here.
And led by Boris, the light-fingered 5-2 dashed out of the hole, dragging the suitcase with them. They were quickly followed by our friends, who gained rapidly on the fleeing thieves.
Quick, pass me the loot.
And the thieves tossed the suitcase to Boris just before they were brought down by our friends.
Good work, Rocky. We've captured everybody except the ringleader.
Oh, we can always track him down, Sheriff.
How do you know that?
Look, he's leaving a trail of $100 bills.
And it was true. The flimsy straw valise had sprung a leak, and Boris was leaving a trail of money behind him as he fled.
Seems to be getting lighter. I must be catching my second wind.
Well, that's certainly a break for us, Rocky.
I don't think so, Sheriff. Look there.
Sure enough, a slight breeze had come up, and the money was being blown all over town. Of course, this didn't go unnoticed by the citizens.
Now, there's something you don't see every day, Chauncey.
What's that, Edgar?
The wind blowing money down the street.
Oh, I don't know, Edgar. We always get a little breeze in the afternoon.
We gotta get those greenbacks back, Bullwinkle.
Don't you have one too many backs in there?
How can we get them, Rocky? They're blowing all over.
You leave it to me, Sheriff.
And the brainy squirrel dashed into a nearby appliance store and returned with a super-powered vacuum cleaner.
Rocky, this is no time to worry about being neat.
But in a few seconds, Rocky had strapped the cleaner to his back.
Now, give me a boost up, Bullwinkle. I've got some cleanup work to do.
So Bullwinkle seized Rocky and tossed him into the air like a small gray javelin. Rocky turned on the vacuum, and in a dazzling display of aerial acrobatics, gathered in bill after bill.
You know, for someone who lives on a diet of nuts, he's pretty smart.
And he's my friend.
Well, he can't be all smart.
Then, after gathering all the loose bills, Rocky zoomed off on Boris's trail, scooping up the money as he went. Back at the jail, the sheriff was giving Bullwinkle his instructions.
Put these three guys in the cooler, Bullwinkle. I'm going to help Rocky.
Okay, Sheriff. Come on, you fellas.
And Bullwinkle marched the three desperados right through the jail to a large ice house behind it.
Hey, what's the idea, buddy?
The sheriff wants you in the cooler, and that's where you're going.
Hey, what'll we do, Slug?
Yeah, it's freezing in here.
It's as cold as ice.
It is ice.
Oh, yeah.
Now listen, you guys, I got an idea. Hey, Moose, it's dark in here.
What do you mean, dark? There's a light in there.
Yeah, but when you close the door, it goes out.
It does? I always wondered about that.
Sure. Look for yourself.
Okay.
And while Bullwinkle stared at the light bulb, the three hoodlums closed the door on him.
Uh-oh, I've been flim-flammed.
That's right.
By the flimsiest kind of a flam.
That's right.
Them fellers tricked me.
That's right.
Look, it didn't go off at all.
And while the icicles slowly formed on the mighty moose, the light-fingered 5-2 dashed off free as birds. What an ending to a simple little newspaper publicity stunt. Don't miss our next episode, the last edition, or 5-scar final.
And now it's time.
Time for that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2,
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3.
Once upon a time, there was a witch who, out of all the witches that ever lived, was the worst witch of all. She was a very ugly old hag, and because of that, she hated everything that was beautiful. Every time she came to a thing of beauty,
How dare you sit there and smell good?
she'd cast a spell upon it.
Turn to seed, be a weed.
Day after day, she would wander around the countryside casting her evil spells. Then one morning, as she was changing cute little white rabbits into bats,
Wiggle your little pink nose at me, will you? How do you like those apples? La 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 la. Oh, that song. It's beautiful. Well, I'll fix that.
following the sound of the voice, she soon came to a castle, and there, sitting in the garden, was a young princess, the most beautiful princess in the kingdom.
La 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 la.
So!
A witch!
Good heavens, where?
Don't be silly. I meant you.
Me? Oh, yes, me. And I'm going to cast a spell on you.
A spell? What for?
For being beautiful.
Is that bad?
When you look like me, it is, honey.
And with that, the witch cast a spell upon the poor little girl, changing her into a horse.
Now you'll have to stay that way until a handsome prince comes along and kisses you, which will be Neversville, dear, because no handsome prince in his right mind will ever kiss a horse.
Oh, darn. I hate days that start out this way.
Alas, being a horse was quite a new experience for the girl, but she made the best of it by spending the next 6 months grazing in a nearby meadow and switching flies with her tail. Then, one day, as she was romping in a field, feeling her oats, a young prince and his lackey chanced to pass, and...
Look, Clyde, a wild horse.
Yes, sire. And isn't she a beauty?
Oh, I'll say. Look at those forelegs.
Fresh.
What'd you say, Clyde?
Nothing, sire.
I'll bet a fine animal like this can run like 60. I'll capture her and enter her in the big race next Saturday.
This was just the break Beauty had been waiting for. Now, if she could just think of some way to make the handsome prince kiss her, she would change back into a beautiful princess, which would make her very happy. The following Saturday, Beauty found herself at the track, but her mind wasn't on the race she was about to run. It was on the prince.
I wonder what makes her pucker up like that.
Must have eaten something sour, sire.
And then it was time for the race to start. Beauty was lined up at the starting gate with all the other horses, and...
Off!
Beauty was off like the wind, and in no time at all had left the other horses far behind.
Come on, Beauty, come on.
Beauty flashed around the far turn, thundered down the home stretch. She seemed certain to win when suddenly, to the amazement of all, she slammed to a stop 5 feet in front of the finish line, cuddled up on the ground, and went sound asleep. The other horses thundered past, and she lost the race.
I hate to say this, sire, but I'm afraid that you got a sleeping beauty on your hands.
Yes, I noticed that.
The prince raced Sleeping Beauty again and again, but it was always the same. She would fall asleep just before crossing the finish line.
I'll just have to take her to Merlin Leroy, the wise guy. He'll know what to do.
Merlin Leroy was the wisest man in the kingdom, and when the prince explained the problem to him...
Don't worry, young man. You just leave Beauty with me for a few days. I'm certain I can get to the bottom of this sleeping business.
And Merlin went to work.
Now then, just relax and think back as far as you can.
Several days later, Merlin returned Beauty to the prince and assured him that he had solved the big problem.
It's very simple, lad. Beauty has a kiss complex.
What?
Tomorrow is the last big race of the season. Enter Beauty, and if she goes to sleep again, just kind of, kiss her on the nose.
Needless to say, the prince was quite confused, but he did as Merlin had instructed, and Beauty was in the big race the following day. Beauty was never in better form, and she ran like the wind. The other horses didn't have a chance, or so it seemed, but then, 5 feet in front of the finish line, seeing this, the prince dashed onto the track and kissed Beauty on the nose, and before his startled eyes, the horse changed into a beautiful princess. Of course, he lost the race again, but the prince didn't care. He was delighted with the beauty of the princess and quickly fell in love with her. And so they were married, and the prince lived unhappily ever after. Yes, that's right, unhappily. For you see, even though Beauty was no longer a horse, she was still an awful nag.
Ready, Rock?
You sure you know how to work that thing?
No. Anyways, here's what it was supposed to look like. Hello there. Today's poem is called...
Hey, Moose, how come you always read poetry?
Well, it's my part of the
You
joke.
think you are the only one with soul?
You want to read a poem?
Certainly. Today's poem got the title, How to Be Happy Though Miserable.
But...
Are you almost disgusted with life, little man?
But...
I'll tell you a wonderful trick. That brings you contentment, if anything can.
Give me...
Do something to somebody quick.
Oh!
Though it rains like the rain of the flood, little man, and the clouds are forbidding and thick, you can make the sun shine on your soul, little man. Do something to somebody quick.
But you got the words wrong. It says do something for somebody, not to 'em.
Well, after all, in poetry is not the word so much, it's the thought that counts.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Gold. Some Canadians had it in their watches. Others had it in their teeth. One Canadian had it on his mind. The pride of the mounted police, Dudley Do-Right. Now our hero is digging for 2 reasons. 1, he received a new shovel on his birthday. And 2, only gold and the wealth it brings will win him the fickle but beautiful heart of the fair Nell Fenwick. Nell is the daughter of the post commander, and it is for her that Dudley tries to do right, but seldom does.
Look what I have found, sweet Nell.
That's not gold, Dudley. That is a tin can.
Yes, but all that glitters is not gold.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure. I shall give it some thought whilst working in the mine. Farewell, Nell.
And with that thought in mind, Dudley dug as he had never dug before, toiling day and night until 3 weeks later, he emerged from the bowels of the earth holding 2 large sacks filled with gold.
Eureka!
That's Eureka. But Dudley knew what he meant, and off he dashed to his beloved.
I have done it. I can now wed the fair Nell.
Ah, but Dudley's horse had been through this before. He knew that the path to success was paved with low-grade asphalt. Speaking of low-grade, here is the villain of our melodrama, Snidely Whiplash.
Egad, that dullard has struck it rich. Now I must strike while the dullard is hot.
His serpent-like mind quickly hit upon an evil plan.
Oh, Dudley, have you given any thought to what would happen to me if anything should happen to you?
Why, no, I haven't.
I thought not. Here, sign this.
And the unsuspecting Dudley signed a will that left his mind to Whiplash in the event that he should meet with an untimely accident, which is precisely what Snidely had in mind. Up to now, no one had thought it odd that Dudley had discovered gold that had already been poured into sacks. The reason for this was Dudley had not dug his way into a mine, but into the post commander's office where the payroll was usually kept.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. What's this? 2 potatoes are missing.
Yes, Inspector Fenwick was nobody's fool. He knew that somebody was robbing the post payroll.
Send Do-Right in here.
You sent for me, sir?
Here are your orders, Do-Right. Bring in the thief who's robbing the payroll.
5 minutes later, Constable Dudley Do-Right was on the trail to Quebec in search of clues. Little did he know he was playing right into Snidely Whiplash's evil hand.
1 well-placed shot and I'm rich.
But Whiplash was not only a poor marksman, but a poor judge of firearms. For this rifle had a kaleidoscope instead of a telescope.
Looks more like a test pattern than a target. Take this, Do-Right.
A mile down the trail, he tried again. This time with an insidious weapon called a blowgun. But again his knowledge was lacking, for the gun didn't blow darts, it blew bubbles.
Oh, look, horse. Lawrence Welk must be on a road tour.
It wasn't until Dudley stopped for water that Whiplash finally succeeded in getting the upper hand. From out of nowhere, a stout rope encircled Dudley.
Aha! I have you in my clutches.
Oh, Whiplash, you devil, what are you up to?
No good, you can bet on that. I shall throw you over the cliff. Then your mine will be mine.
But I can swim.
With a stick of dynamite in your mouth?
Whiplash jammed a burning stick of TNT into our hero's big mouth and pushed him over. Down, down, down he plummeted into the raging torrent below. It was true that he couldn't swim with a stick of dynamite in his mouth. But his horse could. Moments later, he and his master stood safely on shore. Or almost safely, for the stick of dynamite was still clutched between his teeth, and it was still burning. Dudley realized that only water would extinguish the fuse. But having his fill of the river, he decided to head back to the post and to the inspector's office where a bucket of water was kept for just such emergencies. By now, Whiplash was in the process of exploring his mine. Groping his way through the inky blackness of the tunnel, he came up in the inspector's office and clutched to his bosom the remaining sacks of gold.
Why, Rika, I am rich.
Just then the door burst open. Dudley dashed in, doused the TNT in the bucket of water, then turned to his arch enemy.
So you are the payroll thief.
Whiplash was caught in the web of his own evil scheme. He got 30 days. Dudley got 7, a week's vacation as a reward for getting his man.
But where are you off to, dear Dudley?
I am off to find another mine so I can make the mine.
Yes, Dudley Do-Right went back to digging for gold. And although we cannot be certain, we feel he will soon find wealth beyond his wildest dreams.
Well, the Frostbite Falls newspaper really started something when it buried a pot full of Confederate money as a promotional stunt. Within a week, the town was dug full of holes, the bank was robbed, and Bullwinkle was locked up by a gang of thieves. Meanwhile, the gang leader, Boris Badenov, was heading for the hills, toting a valise that leaked $100 bills. Close behind, Rocky was scooping them up with a powerful vacuum cleaner. Unfortunately, the machine was a little too powerful.
Uh-oh. Excuse me, Mr. Braunschweiger. I thought you were a $100 bill.
Name is Babyface, not Bill.
But then Boris spotted his empty suitcase.
Raskolnikov, I've been hijacked by carpet sweeper.
And he started off after the fleeing Rocky.
Uh-oh. I gotta find some place to hide this money. But where?
Then Rocky's sharp eye spotted a small building on a back street.
That's it. The old ice house. Nobody'd ever think to go in there.
Gee, Rock, I thought you'd never show up.
Bullwinkle, what are you doing here?
Far as I can tell, I'm freezing to death.
Come on. We gotta hide this vacuum cleaner full of money.
How about putting it under this loose board?
Yeah, but that board isn't loose.
Now it is.
Good. I'll just put... Uh-oh. There's something here already.
Something to do with the plot, I'll bet.
I'll say, look.
Oh, it's just an ordinary pot full of Confederate money.
Bullwinkle, it's the Picayune pot.
Isn't it, though? The Picayune pot! Then we win the prize!
Yeah. Now we've only got one problem.
What's that?
Staying alive to collect it.
What's so tough about that?
Well, I'll tell you, buddy.
Yike!
Yike indeed, for there in the room with them stood Boris Badenov.
Okay, Squirrel, hand over that vacuum cleaner.
Never. Here, catch, Bullwinkle.
Got it, Rock!
The money flew out. Boris seized it and headed for the door.
No, sir, Mr. Babyface Braunschweiger. You won't get by me.
Watch carefully. Crime marches on.
And Boris dashed out through the doorway.
Rocky, he got away. We're gonna have another unhappy ending.
I don't think so, Bullwinkle.
How come?
Well, you see, that's not the door to outside.
It's not.
I tricked him. Read the sign.
Ice making room, keep out danger. Rocky, you've did it again.
So a short time later, our friend stood with the sheriff outside the ice house.
Well, we've got 3 of the crooks in the clink, Rocky. But what happened to the bank's money?
Just watch. There it is. It's all in a block of ice.
What do you know? Frozen assets.
But what about Babyface Braunschweiger?
Coming right up, Sheriff.
And that was as near as the arch-fiend ever again came to the bank's money. The next day, he was shipped, ice and all, to the state Huskow. And our boys, heroes to the end, collected the prize for finding the Picayune pot, a genuine reconditioned Stearns Knight runabout.
There's only one thing wrong, boys.
What's that?
There's so many holes dug in the street, there's no place to drive it.
But a little thing like that didn't bother our friends, and soon Bullwinkle was thoroughly enjoying driving his new old car, even though he wasn't going anywhere.
Hold it right there, Rocky.
How come, Bullwinkle?
I like to watch the sunset.
Look out! It's tipping over!
And so as the sun slowly sets over Bullwinkle, we take leave of our heroes. Be with us next time for the further adventures of Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
It looks as if our time is just about run out.
Just enough left to tell him who the sponsor was.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.